Hi guys, we're going to continue our reading. Last that we left off, Michael Bay was at Taylor's house and was about, I think they're at Taylor's house, and is about to reveal his secret to her. All right, we're on page 42 at the top, if you want to follow along. I heard a loud zap. Then I saw Jack and his friends rolling on the ground like they'd been tased. I shook my head. That's pretty much what happened. How did you tase them? As I thought over how much I wanted to share, Taylor said, My dad has a taser. He also has a stun gun. He showed me how they work. My mother had made me promise to never tell anyone about my electricity, but we had never talked about what to do if someone already knew, or at least thought they did. I don't know if I should say, I said. Taylor leaned closer and touched my arm. Michael, I understand. I really do. I've never told anyone my secret, but I'm tired of keeping this to myself. Aren't you? Her eyes were wide with sincerity. I slowly nodded. Austin was the only person I'd ever told about my electricity, and telling him had been an incredible relief, like 100 pounds falling off my shoulders. I slowly breathed out. You know when people rub their feet on the carpet and build up electricity? Sorry, I lost my spot. Then touch someone to shock them? Static electricity, she said. Right. When I was little, I would touch people and it would shock them like that. Except I didn't have to be on carpet. I could be on anything, and I didn't have to rub my feet. Only the shock was much worse. Sometimes people screamed. It got so bad that my mom made me wear rubber gloves. As I got older, I got more powerful. What I did to those boys was nothing compared to what I have done, what I could have done. Taylor set down her lemonade. So you can control it? Mostly. Sometimes it's hard. What does it feel like when you shock? To me or to them? She grinned. I can guess how it feels to them. It's like a sneeze. It just kind of builds up, then blows. Can you do it more than once? Yes, but I can only do it so many times before I start to lose energy. It takes a few minutes to build it up again. Do you have to touch someone to shock them? Yes, unless they're touching metal, like Cody was today. She nodded. That was actually pretty cool. Do you ever shock yourself? No. How come? I don't know. Electric eels don't shock themselves. I took another small sip of the lemonade and puckered. You don't have to drink it, Taylor said. I won't be offended or anything. It's okay. I set the glass down. Your turn. What did you do to Mr. Polson? A wide smile crossed her lips. I rebooted him. You what? You know, like rebooting a computer. I reboot people. I think it's an electric thing, too. The brain is just a bunch of electrical signals. I can somehow scramble them. That's weird. You're calling me weird? I didn't mean it like that. I'm not saying you're weird. Well, I am, and so are you. I don't think there's anyone else in the world like us. I'm going to pause for a minute because it's interesting that Taylor's power also requires electricity. So it's making me wonder if these kids were given this power somehow by someone else, maybe doing experiments on them. I'm just guessing, but I don't know. All right, let's keep going. Unless they're hiding it like us. I mean, I sat down next to you in class and I never knew. That's true. When did you first notice that you were different? I asked. I think I was around 7. I was lying in bed one night under the covers when I noticed that there was a bluish-greenish glow coming from my body. You have a glow? I asked. Yeah, it's just faint. You can only see it in the dark and if you look closely. I glow too, I said. Hearing that she had the same glow made me feel good. Like I wasn't so different or alone. Okay, the fact that they had the same glow definitely makes me think they were like given some sort of the same toxic chemical or something when they were babies. That summer I was playing wizard with some friends and I cast a spell, only they fell to the ground and started to cry. At first I thought they were just pretending, but they weren't. They couldn't remember what they were doing. That's why Mr. Polson couldn't remember what he was doing, I said. She smiled. Yeah, it comes in handy sometimes. Does it hurt the person you reboot? She seemed embarrassed. I don't know. It's not like I do it all the time. Want me to do it to you? No. Do you want me to shock you? No. She looked at me seriously. You know, Michael, my parents don't even know about this. Do you have any idea how good it feels to finally tell someone? I nodded. Yes. She smiled. Yeah, I guess you would. She lay back into the cushion. So your parents know? My mother does. My father passed away when I was 8. I'm sorry. Her expression grew more serious. So what does your mother think of it? I think it scares her. If she knew I was talking to you about it, she'd be really upset. She won't hear it from me, Taylor said. I wish I could tell my parents. I've tried a few times, but whenever I ask to talk to them, they just get nervous, like I'm going to tell them I've done something wrong. I guess I'm just afraid of how they'll react. You should tell them, I said. I know, someday I will. This is interesting because I kind of assumed that the parents all knew and they were like purposely trying to hide their children from whoever is looking for them. Like Michael Vay's mom, I assumed she moved to Idaho because she knew that some people were after him and she was trying to hide him. But now it seems like maybe she's just hiding him because she doesn't want anyone to know in general. Okay, let's keep going. She says, I know, someday I will. Taylor leaned forward and said in a softer but more excited tone, there's something else I can do. Want to see it? Sure. She patted the sofa cushion next to her. Come closer. I scooted closer until our bodies nearly touched. I started gulping, but I stopped myself. This isn't going to hurt, right? No, she leaned toward me until we were touching. Now think of a number between 1 and a million. 1 in a million? Okay. I thought of the last 4 digits of my phone number. Just keep thinking of the number. She reached over and took my hand. Suddenly, a big smile came across her face. Think of the number, silly, not me. Oh my gosh, that must be so embarrassing for him. What, you're reading my mind? I asked jokingly. It wouldn't take a mind reader to know what I was thinking. The most beautiful girl at school was holding my hand. I focused on my number again. 3,989, she said. I looked at her in astonishment. How did you do that? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that it's part of the same rebooting thing. I mean, it's all about electricity, right? Our thoughts are just electricity firing, so when I touch you, your thoughts show up in my brain as well. Same projector, different screen. Her explanation made sense. So you can really read minds? Yes, but not without touching. If I were to put my forehead against yours, I could see even better. I'm going to pause. I don't know if I would want to have a girlfriend or boyfriend that could read my mind. That's just too much invasion, don't you think? Or, oh well, we'll keep reading. I wouldn't mind that, I thought, forgetting that we were still holding hands. A big smile came across her face. I blushed and let go of her hand. So all you need to do is touch someone? She nodded. I've even been able to read people's minds if they're touching metal, like the way you shocked Cody. She leaned back again. So what do we do now? Okay, the fact that she's saying she could read minds of people who touch metal when she touches the metal, I feel like that's going to come up later in the story. Like she's going to need to be able to use that power sometime in the future. First, we need to promise never to reveal each other's powers. We already did that, she said. Right. Second, I think we need to stick together. She looked at me with a funny expression. I'm glad she wasn't touching me. After a moment, she said, that's a good idea. We should start a club. A club? With just the two of us? Unless you know someone else like us. Austin should be in our club. He could come in handy. Who's Austin? He's my friend. You just met him at my locker. He sits in front of me in biology. The know-it-all kid? I nodded. He's my best friend. Does he have powers? No, but he knows a lot about science and electricity. He's really smart, like mad scientist smart. His mother told me when he was only 6 years old, their DVD player broke. Before his father could take it in for repair, Austin had taken it apart and fixed it. He's not too smart socially, Taylor observed. That's a different kind of smart. But can he keep a secret? Because no one can know about this. He's kept my secret since I told him. How long ago was that? Almost 3 years. Besides, who is he going to tell? I'm his only friend. Taylor didn't look completely convinced, but she nodded anyway. All right, he can be in our club. We'll need to come up with a name, I said. Every club has a name. You're right. How about the power team? I frowned. No, too boring. How about the electric eels? Yuck, she said. Have you ever seen one of those? They look like fat snakes with acne. Besides, shocking people is your thing. You could call yourself Eel Man. I didn't really care for the name, though I did like that she referred to me as a man. And you could call yourself the Human Reset Button. She shook her head. Let's just stick with our real names. Okay, besides, we don't have to come up with something right now. Austin's good at that kind of thing. He'll have some good ideas. We sat a moment in silence. Taylor stood. Would you like some more lemonade? No, I'm good. She looked at the clock above the television set and groaned. My mom will be home in another half hour. You better go. My parents are kind of strict. I'm not allowed to have boys over when they're not here. I stood. I need to get home anyway. She walked me to the door. Thanks for coming over. You're welcome. When should we get together again? I tried not to sound too eager. For our club. When's good for you? How about tomorrow night? I can't. There's a basketball game. Aren't you going? Right, I forgot. The truth was I hadn't ever gone to a school game. How could you forget? It's the regional championship. I've just had a lot going on lately. How about Saturday? Saturday's good during the day, but at night my mom and I are kind of celebrating my birthday. Saturday's your birthday? I nodded. But we're really celebrating on Monday since my mom has to work all day Saturday. Taylor said, my birthday is Sunday. Really? That's a coincidence. Okay, I'm pausing again because their birthdays are right next to each other. They have the same power. They have the same type of powers that require electricity. They both live in Idaho. They both go to the same school. So I'm wondering, they must have been, I'm just guessing, maybe test babies or something. And they also mentioned earlier that Taylor's family all had completely different colored hair and eyes than she did. Like, she doesn't look like the rest of her family. So maybe she's adopted. And that's why her parents don't know about her powers. This is all very intriguing. I wonder, let's keep reading. Her brow furrowed. Maybe it's not. We were born on nearly the same day, and we both have electrical powers. Think about it. Maybe it had something to do with the stars being in alignment or something. It may sound strange, but I had never considered why I had electrical powers any more than I had wondered why I had Tourette's. If that's the case, then there would be tens of thousands of people like us, I said. Taylor shrugged. Maybe there are. I doubt it, I said. We would have at least heard of them. I mean, someone pops a zit and it ends up on the internet. You're right, she thought some more. Were you born here? I shook my head. I was born in Pasadena, California. How about you? I don't know. I was adopted. I was right. Now I understood why Taylor looked so different from the rest of her family. So we'll get together Saturday? I asked. Sure, but first I need to make sure my parents don't have plans. They've been on my back lately for being gone too much. I'll let you know. Great. She opened the door for me. Bye, Michael. See you, Taylor. Thanks for the lemonade. You're welcome. Talk to you tomorrow. After she shut the door, I took off running. I had just formed an exclusive club with Taylor Ridley. I didn't need to run. I could have floated the whole way home. All right, that was a very interesting chapter, and I noticed some of my predictions came true, so we'll see if the rest do. Bye.